The winds of change have swept through Syria, toppling the Assad regime after more than 5 decades of authoritarian rule. But what does this seismic shift mean for Ukraine, Russia, and the broader geopolitical chessboard? Back in 1971, Hafez al-Assad seized power in Syria, beginning a family dynasty that ruled with an iron fist. His son, Bashar, continued this legacy, bringing destruction and pain to millions. Yet in late 2024, the unthinkable happened. Assad regime fell, a victory for freedom, but also a wake-up call for every dictator clinging to power. Russia's failure to save its Syrian ally is more than a regional defeat. For Vladimir Putin, it's a harsh reminder that authoritarian regimes built on violence, fear and weapons are not invincible. Ukraine wasted no time stepping into the vacuum left by Assad's fall. A high-level delegation led by new Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha visited Damascus, signaling Kyiv's readiness to build ties with Syria's new leadership. Ukraine's Grain from Ukraine program is more than a humanitarian aid program too. It's a diplomatic tool of soft power to strengthen partnerships and promote stability in regions where Russian influence has crumbled, especially now in Syria, which can become a vital ally for Ukraine and the entire Western Bloc after Assad has withdrawn to Russia. Let's talk about what Russia lost in Syria. First, its military strongholds, including the Tartus naval base and Khmimim air base, which have been key to projecting power in the Middle East. Second, its control over regional gas routes, which was a cornerstone of Moscow's economic strategy. Without Syria, Russia loses more than a foothold in the Middle East. It loses billions in gas revenues. Even Kremlin propagandists admit that Syria was a war for Gazprom. Now that the war is over, and since Ukraine cut off gas transit to Europe from January 1st, 2025, all of the gas supplies to Europe are now problematic, if not impossible. Interesting what will happen when the oil transit agreement through the Druzhba pipeline will end. Turkey has emerged as a decisive player in this evolving geopolitical game too. By supporting Syrian rebels and countering Kurdish forces, Ankara has solidified its influence in the region. So, what does Assad's fall mean for Ukraine? For one, it forces Russia to shift focus and resources away from Syria, potentially weakening its ability to sustain aggression here in Ukraine. And history tells us that defeats abroad often precede collapses at home, just as the USSR loss in Afghanistan led to its subsequent eventual collapse. Putin's failure in Syria could foreshadow the disintegration of his new empire. And another defeat in Ukraine could really become a death blow to the Kremlin machine. The fall of the Assad regime is a turning point, not just for Syria, but for the world too. As Russia's grip weakens, Ukraine is seizing the moment to lead with diplomacy, resilience, and a vision for a more stable future as the Russian forces advance in Ukraine. But the question remains, how will the dominoes fall next? Subscribe for more insights as we unveil the world's most pressing conflicts and disinformation campaigns. And remember, the truth is a game, but it's one we must play to win. And don't make sure to let propaganda win.